Going, brother?
I'm good, man. You?
How's it going? Good. Sean, nice to meet you, man. Do you mind if I have a discussion with you about the Quran?
Pardon?
Do you mind if I talk to you about the Quran?
You want to ask a question? Or
Yeah. So
how many questions? One question? Or?
it depends on where it goes, man. I want.
Because you see, I just put up here,
Well, before you get started, and then we'll go on our way. I don't need to be here long.
Yeah, but is there filming in here or something? I don't know. Is that okay?
Yeah, I've seen you at Speaker's Corner before.
Yeah, but I don't know why they're recording. Can you ask him nicely,
He could.
please?
Okay, he can record. He's gonna record me. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to speak on that topic. I don't want you to record me.
you don't want to be recorded.
I don't want him to record me.
He's not gonna record you. He's gonna record me.
If you're asking a sincere question, do you need
I am.
You need camera to ask a sincere question?
Yes.
The time of just there were no camera.
Wait. What do you mean by sincere question?
The time of just there were no camera. You were just doing the job.
Wait, let me ask you a question though. What do you mean by sincere question?
Because everyone nowadays is about trending on YouTube and social media, making money offline. I'm not like, if it's about the matter of faith and a serious question,
Yeah.
it wouldn't matter camera or not.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So it wouldn't matter. Like, so the conversations that are being recorded are recorded for people online so they can also listen, because there are a lot of conversations that happen where there are good information that are given and a lot of people are not able to actually get that information out. So I do agree. It doesn't matter if it's recorded or not, but I believe that conversations like this need to be recorded. So if anyone has interfaith dialogue, that these conversations could be seen, because not everybody is able to go outside and actually talk to someone who's on the streets doing dawah and stuff like that. Not everybody's privileged enough to do stuff like that or listen to these conversations. So the best way that they can get it is online. So that's the reason why it's being recorded. But I do have a sincere question about the crucifixion in the Quran.
You already got the answer for your question?
Have I already?
I'm asking the question?
I would like to see what answer you give me. I've gotten different answers, and so what they tell us is go, instead of talking to people online, which I mainly do, they say go out and talk to the Dawah guys, go out to Islam, the masjids and things like that.
So, the answer they give you, are you satisfied with the answer?
No, I'm not, and that's why I want to talk to you, because if you're here doing Dawah,
So
then I would say you may give me a better answer.
Ask the question sincerely, because respectful one ignorant of the question.
Yeah.
That means they're not in an expert portion to say what answer to be given to them. So how would you determine if you're satisfied with answer or not, if you're ignorant about the question in the first place?
Wait, I never said I was ignorant about the question.
I'm not saying in a rude way.
No, I know. I never said I was ignorant about the question. I'm saying I'm asking the question because I have knowledge on answers that were given.
So that's why I asked you, do you ask you before, do you already have the answer? But you know the
I told you, yeah. I told you, but I said I've got multiple answers and they don't sit well with me. But what they say is, hey, instead of talking to people online, these are where I got these answers from. Also, I've done my research as well too. But they say instead of talking to people online, go out and talk to Dawah guys and go to masjids and talk to sheikhs. So this is what we do. So now let's go talk to somebody who obviously I'm sure you must have knowledge if you're.
I know, but I'm just saving you time and me time. If you already picked your answer and you already have knowledge of it, you're not ignorant of the question. You know the answer yourself.
No, I'm not saying I don't. I never said I don't know the answer. I'm saying I would like to discuss the crucifixion with you. I'm not saying, hey, can you tell me what 4157 means? I know what it means according to different Muslims that I've spoken to. But I would like to get your opinion on it.
Because like I said, I have things to do. I can
10, 15 minutes if you want. Yeah.
5 minutes?
10. Come on, give me 10, man. Give me 10. Cause you gotta go and then I gotta go and then. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. So 4157. Clearly we both know that it says.
It's 3:15 now, so 25 minutes wrapping up. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. That's cool. Yeah. So 4157 clearly says that he was neither killed nor crucified, but it was made to appear so. Now, according to my research in the tafsirs, Ibn Kathir, he quotes that there was some sort of swapping of a body, right? There's a story that he tells where Jesus is in a room with his disciples and he claims that a young boy comes and raises his hand and says, I will take your place. But the thing is, he also states that Jesus asks people, who's going to take my place? And I just find it odd that, for one, the young boy asked 3 times and he said no because you're young. And then all of a sudden he says, you know what, yeah, go ahead, and he'll go with the young boy. And then the young boy gets crucified instead of Jesus. And then all of a sudden, it's not the only one. That's the one that I read. That's kind of,
out of all the toughs here,
yeah.
you say, well, okay, hey, this is my
No, man, no. I'm just pointing out one. There are other ones where they say it's Judas. That's still problematic. And then there are other ones where they just claim that there's a swap, but they don't know who the body is. They don't know who that person swapped is. So
all right. Different commentary of Quran giving their opinion or what are they taking. Because the third person was involved in the Quran verse. Like the word is clear. They kill him not crucified.
yeah,
But it appeared to themselves. Yes, it appeared to them, so meaning they proceeded. So we understand that. Human being cannot misperception. Human being are not infallible.
yeah,
You can walk and see a group of, I think it's 5 pounds and you run and it's not 5 pounds.
yeah,
You can in the desert and think you see water, but you know it's not water. You go close.
yeah,
That's human being because we're not perfect. So we cannot misperception. That's basically what Quran is clear. Whatever, irrespective of what other human being coming to, I don't care who they are, whatever they come, what their opinion is, their diverse opinion. But in the history of Christianity, before those Islamic scholars, it was likewise diverse opinion, same way on the same specific matter. I can give you 15 second of first century Christian that deny crucifixion of Christ. Not Muslim them, 15 sect of first century Christian.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure I know what sect that you're talking about, but they denied it simply because of the disbelief that God could be crucified. They denied it on the basis of believing Jesus was God, which is the reason why they could not understand how this took place. I know what sect you're speaking of, but the denying of the crucifixion doesn't mean that it actually didn't happen, because in the Quran it states that it did happen, but it just looked like that.
The point that you're contending, the Quran, when you quote the verse, you say the Quran outright goes against it.
The Quran outright goes against the crucifixion of Christ.
Of the son of Mary, specifically the individual we're talking about.
Correct.
So and if other scholars giving their take on the opinion or the intricacy of it happened, I'm saying to you, from the old Christian history, many people deny crucifixion. Some of them don't even believe that he was divine.
Okay.
It's not just saying umbrella all of them believe that they're divine and God cannot die. That's not the position.
Yeah.
You have sects like Pauline, you have one interestingly called Pauline. You have many sects, 50, or I can give you 50 sects. I just have to listen with me right. I deny. One of them account is based off Peter's gospel as well. When Peter standing next to Jesus and says, I'm just look at him and look at me. And Peter says, is that master, is that you they're doing like that? Jesus said to Peter, look at me and look at him. See any piercing in my hand? What the question is now is depends which denomination. If you were back then, every different denomination is saying our canon is correct. Other one is versus them and saying no, our one is right. If you're born amongst those canon that deny crucifixion about those who are Christian, you can chant the same thing as them.
Well, okay.
Born one of them home. Or one of those parents.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. So you said the Gospel of Peter? You said the Gospel of Peter?
Yeah.
Is that a real gospel?
Yeah, there's many other gospel that I said to you. They say, they told the statement, the winner right history, they say. But
I've never heard of the Gospel of Peter. Where's the Gospel of Peter?
Anything has been hidden from me.
It's been hidden from me?
You will have the term apocrypha.
Yeah.
And you would take doubt, it means doubtful. That's what you would think.
Okay, so
apocrypha, they will say doubtful. Depends who doing the labeling. But apocrypha original meaning something hidden. Something hidden doesn't mean it is not true.
I mean, that's tough then, because if that's the case, then if you're going with apocryphal work, well then you'd have to kind of justify why it is that you remove the understanding of the actual gospels, because if Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, those are the but let me show you, because those are historically attested have been historically attested to be the actual gospels.
The gospels fall like the compass.
No, but the point that I'm making,
the Roman guy Erasmus. Let me show you. Said, "Oh, my brain works for me, bro." Sorry.
But the point. One second. Because the point that I'm making is this: it's not let's have a dispute about which gospels are real or not. The point is that you've now brought up apocryphal gospels, which has been deemed false and forgeries and fakes by the history, by church history.
You understand what I just said to you?
By church
you have
history.
Many different denominations. One camp canon is another camp apocryphal.
Right.
And the vice versa happen.
Right.
So the one that you deeming to be legit, other people with their camp are saying no, that's not legit. So the question is who's I mean,
but it's go ahead. Yeah, you're right.
The question is, you can make a choice at your own self-determination to roll with who you want to roll with.
Yeah.
Me, I look at the whole thing comprehensive, and I look at people's motive and background, and see who I will roll along with.
Yeah.
That seems more close to the truth.
Right.
That's what I do stuff. I rather exhaust myself.
But that means that the truth is that means that the truth is skewed with a little bit of what you don't know and what you do know, in which we know for 100% fact that the gospels have been historically attested to be the real gospels based by historians and church fathers and etc. Okay, so for one, so I gave you one guy too, Irenaeus. Irenaeus is a 1st century church father who literally attests that Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John were the ones who wrote their gospels, and they
see the subjectivity, the information you get, and we know the gospel that you have in Matthew, Mark, John, like Graham Stanton, the monster amongst Christian scholars, New Testament scholars, who have many sub-heading scholars on their way. Graham Stanton, the name Matthew, the gospel account to the family name Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Unlike most Greco-Roman writings, this is quotation. When we first founded these writings, they were anonymous writing in the first half of the 1st century. He says, who added the name? The name is added in the second half of the 2nd century. Who added the name is also anonymous. Go and research who's Graham Stanton. That's a Christian New Testament expert for you. So when you saying right now, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, these are pseudonames added later on in the second half of the 2nd century for convenience and to anonymous writing.
So wait.
Let me finish your point, bro. If you want to be literal with truth, because God loves truth literally.
Yeah.
Then these Koine Greek writing that you call it Matthew, Luke, and John, there's no Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are anonymous writing. They're stranger author. You don't know who wrote them.
Okay.
That is the correct position.
Okay. So here's the thing. So I gave you Irenaeus. You didn't really debunk Irenaeus. You basically just gave me other things that you use to try to contest the biblical narrative of what we have. Now, excuse me as well too, because Matthew and John were disciples. Okay. So what I'm saying is that if we have history, that the history of them being disciples.
Luke was copied from Mark, Virgin. John's gospel is different from the other 3 gospels.
Yeah, but
over the course of time, it came later.
Right.
The fact is known.
Okay. So let me. All right. So let me. Let's bring it back to the point of where your Quran says what it says. Because here's the thing. I asked you about the Quran, and then now we're talking about the confirmation or correctness of the Gospels, which is completely different from what you're supposed to be trying to prove or give me a point. No, because
sometimes we segue to another because I've looked at a while.
You said it was skewed. You said it was skewed, and then you went and talked to the Gospels.
Contending, I'm saying the Christian history of the same thing, of the same issue with diverse view on the crucifixion with 15.
But that doesn't. Let
me finish.
That doesn't prove your view.
With 50 sect of 1st century Christian, 1st century for a reason. You know what that means?
Every view. Okay, but that doesn't mean that it actually never happened though. Just because people have.
Doesn't mean that it happened, though.
Just because people. Okay, but listen. Just because people have differences of opinions on the crucifixion itself, right? Does not mean. Just because anyone can come out and say that it didn't happen or have a dispute about it happening doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Sect me in a whole denomination with scholars in the rank.
Right, but
put me correctly.
Right, but personally, we need to figure out what's taking place in your paradigm now, because if we're talking about what's taking place Islamically, Yeah, but
15 sects.
right, but in your Quran it states
All
what.
50 denominations.
But in your Quran it states what he's trying to tell us what happened. And so if all you can say is it didn't happen, and then you can't actually tell me what happened outside of that, because it says one more thing. It says it was made to appear so. So I'm trying to get a little bit more knowledge on what it means to it was made to appear so. Now, if you don't know, then it's cool. Just say, you know what, look, we don't know, we don't have that knowledge.
They perceive it so. They perceive that they killed the Messiah. Or the current
and how did they perceive that? How did they perceive that they killed Jesus? How does that happen?
By utilizing the human perception that they have.
How does utilizing human perception cause millions of people to believe that an event like that? But I'm asking you, how did that happen? How did they mistake him?
I perceive it to be from James from Brixton.
Okay, did anybody? Let me ask you this: did any? Yeah, but that doesn't. But that's not going to spread and have millions of people believe that I'm James from Brixton. The problem is that when you have someone up on a cross, someone needs to be taken off of a cross. Someone needs to be placed in a tomb. So if someone was taken off the cross and someone was placed in the tomb, then it does. Okay, it would make it even worse if they left him on the cross, because then they would know that he was never there.
So you're saying, God, this is the way you should have done it, God? Someone needs to do this.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm asking you, how did they perceive that Jesus was on the cross, knowing that these things take place in a public setting?
The gospel said they were bewitched. The eye were bewitched.
So they
whose eye was bewitched?
You're not reading the gospel, bro.
No, but I'm asking you, whose eyes were bewitched?
The eye was bewitched. Even John Gospel make it very clear, isn't it?
John Gospel make it very clear that Jesus was crucified.
Yeah, and then we're going to say otherwise in the scripture. We're going to show you have a contradicting book.
So
no, we don't.
What's your telling?
John 18 verse 6.
Wait,
it just says in the Garden of Gethsemane, I am me.
What's your name, sir?
And they fell back and fell to the ground. Even Psalms prophesies on the matter. Psalms give account for over 50% of the messianic prophecies.
Okay, is what you quoted in John true?
Oh, we understand something. If I can't finish, make the point I'm making.
Go ahead.
So Psalms 27 is matching with John 18 verse 6. But it gives you more detail of what happened when Jesus says, I am he, and that all entire Roman troop fell to the ground. That's a miracle. A man just saying, I am me. You want to talk about miracle? I'm telling you one other miracle of Jesus that people don't oversight. A man just saying, I am me, and our whole entire troop fell back and fall to the ground. That's some power in that statement. Yes? Psalm 27 tells you exactly what happened now. When my enemy and my foe came to eat up my flesh, and they all fell back and fell to the ground, then God hid him, just in the secret of his pavilion. God raised him up. In the secret, God raised him. God hid him from them, and then God raised him up. Now he's in heaven singing songs of praises.
But
that's exactly
what
Psalm,
about
Psalm 27 go to the detail. I tell you what happened after they fell to the ground.
I don't have a problem with Psalms 27 and the other verse that you quoted in John. We as Christians don't have a problem because that's in our Bible. The problem is that when we go elsewhere in John and elsewhere in Psalms, it's prophesying he will be crucified. John tells us he'd be crucified, and he prophesies that he's going to be crucified in John, and in John he's crucified. So you're quoting something where you say, hey, I like this, but then you go elsewhere in John and say, I don't see it.
No.
What about when John says he was crucified?
That I quote because
I don't have a problem with what you quoted.
The reason why you don't cite the sentiment of the message.
But really quick, hold on. You cut me off.
What I quoted, you ignore it like there's no meaning in what I quoted. If I quote Hebrews 5 verse 7, verse 7, that he just in the day of his flesh prayed to God to be saving, and the scripture actually says that he was answered. Because what Bible you read, one said that he was heard because he's a righteous person, he's with submission.
What time do we have on
answer his request? You will ignore that like you never heard that. Yes.
No, I wouldn't ignore it. I don't ignore anything in the Bible. So the passage, you're quoting Hebrews, right? Where it says he was heard, right?
I'm saying, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna go somewhere else and show me something that indicates crucifixion. So I'm trying to say to you is, well, that's why I said to you, you can show me the book is a contradicting book. That means I'm taking a balance account. But things that I say, you're not taking into consideration, you're ignoring them.
No, I didn't. I didn't ignore that. What I'm saying, I'm showing you that you're ignoring.
Hebrews 5 verse 7 means?
Okay, Hebrews 5:7 means that he will be saved from death. He was saved from death. He was resurrected. That's what it means. He was saved from death. Doesn't mean he was saved from the crucifixion, because we'll stay in Hebrews. Look, I'll bring on Hebrews 7, and we'll continue to read the rest.
Resurrection means saved from death.
We'll read. Wait, hold on. I'll pull Hebrews 7, and we'll read down more. We'll stay in Hebrews. We'll stay in Hebrews 5,
Resurrection
and I'll
means
read
saved-
after 7.
Resurrection means saved from death?
I'll watch this. Yeah. What do you mean, saved from death?
So while he pulls up
Yes, in the
that,
days
we
of
were
his
talking
flesh.
about-
The scripture is clear. In the days of his flesh, offer prayers and supplication, strong cries and tears. It even concerned with other place in the Garden of Gethsemane. That's what it's commenting on.
Yeah, later
He's talking about.
later in the
Long
passage.
before any alleged quote-unquote resurrection.
Yeah, but later in the passage, if you want to quote Hebrews, right? What I'm saying is like later in the
You ignore what I'm
passage,
saying.
I answered what you said. You
It's a
asked me what does
resurrection,
Hebrews
but
5:7
you
mean?
saw something that have nothing to do with it that does attach to it.
I literally answered what Hebrews 5:7
Just in the
means:
days of his
saved from
flesh.
death, not
Go
saved
slow
from the
with me,
crucifixion.
Your brain is more advanced than mine.
Okay.
Just in the days of his flesh, what is coming from? What event?
Hold on, let me get Hebrews 5:7 for you, because you're saying that I'm not answering, but I answered
Just
you,
in the
and then
days
you
of
went to
his
something
flesh.
else.
You don't have to go somewhere. You can stay in the same scripture and answer it.
So let's give him Hebrews 5:7, and then let's see if he'll justify it through the Quran, because he's trying to use the Bible to show us that he's trying to use the Bible to show us that it wasn't crucified. Why you can't do that? Because the Bible.
Man, I don't know how to do it. For surety they kill him not are crucified. It appeared to them so. That means they misperceive it. What else do you want from that statement?
We want more detail. If you
What
can't
do you
give us
want from
that,
that statement?
we'll give. Okay, so let me
That's
give you.
clear to me. I
Wait,
don't know why
one
it's
second. Okay, so let me give you Hebrews 5:7 really quick, and then let me read to you the very next verse, and then we'll see what you can actually say to that. Right. So you brought up Hebrews 5:7. So let's read Hebrews 5:7. Okay. So who in the days of his flesh, when he had offered up prayers and supplication with vehement cries and tears to him who was able to save him from death, and was heard because of his godly fear. Though he was a son, yet he learned obedience by the things which he had
It's a
suffered.
different argument though. There's a full step.
It's not a different argument. It's literally the context
I
of
have
the.
no to reproduce.
It's the context of the passage. It's the very next verse. It's the very next verse.
Because what happens is, if you're going to run to that verse and say you can use this for your argument.
It's the very next verse,
then
brother.
The very next
What
verse.
next verse say? What next verse
The
say?
very next verse says he learned obedience through the things he suffered. What did he
What
suffer?
does next verse says death? He dead.
What,
Also calls him the
what do you
son.
mean? You said wait. What does the next verse say? He
Learn
died.
obedience through things you suffer. What next verse?
Listen.
All the
And the
All
very
the dead man. All the dead man.
Yet
if
he
suffer
learned-
means death right there. So let's read it the way you understand it. Because maybe I'm stupid. I don't know.
It also calls him
he
the
learned-
No,
son.
because
he
here's the
learned-
thing. Before you read, let me say this. Before you read, let me say this, because I don't think you're understanding that I'm giving you context. I'm giving you the
He
context,
said he
right?
learned obedience for things suffer. Why you
And
trouble?
I'm asking you, what are
I'm
the
asking
things?
you what-
I'm asking you, what are
That
the
doesn't
things he
mention
said?
death right there. Does that mention death? That mean death?
Wait. So you're taking that verse in a vacuum? The verse only. This is the Bible right here, huh? Hebrews 5:8.
There's a full stop there.
Wait. Is there context to the things he said?
There's a full stop there, brother.
So Hebrews 5:8. That's it, huh? That's it. Just Hebrews 5:8.
Game are you discussing this stuff?
Wait.
Wait a minute. You wait. You gave
So tell you
Hebrews.
what then. I tell you what. You see that kind of approach? You cannot take no verse of the Bible in a vacuum. You're gonna continue to read until thy kingdom come. If you're gonna play that game.
Come on, man.
No,
We can't
it's
do
your
it.
principle.
We can't.
You can't stop at no point.
We
It's
can't
your
do.
principle. We don't stop at no point.
We can't do that. We can't do that.
So therefore, any verse, you're not supposed to quote no verse. Every time you quote a verse, you must read the whole entire Bible that follows after it.
So what if we took the Quran and then we read it like this, through this lens? You heard? What if we took the Quran and we read it through this lens?
I give it more than.
You heard? And blocked out the rest.
are coming to play game again.
No, he's Muslim. I debated him earlier. But
Yeah,
but
he
here's
knows what
here's here's the thing. Here's the thing, right? Okay, and then you got stuff to do, so I'll let you go. But here's the thing, right? You quoted Hebrews 5:7. Okay, we know what Hebrews 5:7 means. I answered it to you, and then I read 8.
Well, you
There
don't
were
answer
he.
nothing.
But let me
Don't
say, let me
answer
say. He learned obedience through the things he suffered. So here's one of the favorite verses you guys quote when he's in the
What does that
garden,
mean?
and
Let's go to the
when
next
he's in the garden, and he says, "Not my will, but your will be done." So what did he learn obedience through the things he suffered?
Things is
When he
pluralized.
said, "Not my will, your will be done."
Brother, you must read slow and pay attention to what you're reading. to
You're not
understand
answering
things.
my questions.
No.
So what did
I'ma
Jesus
show you-
mean
I'ma
when he
show
said,
you-
"Not my
I'ma
will,
show you
your
how
will
you
be
can
done"?
Understand the scripture. Don't just ace there enough on one like that.
What-
You read the scripture, you go back over it, and you look at it carefully. Things there is pluralization. He's not talking about one thing.
That's
Is it?
what. Wait. Of course he's not. Of course.
If thing there is pluralization, is it talking one thing?
You haven't given me. You haven't given me
Hear
one.
me clearly, and you act like you don't hear what I'm saying, like I'm speaking to
No,
you.
I'm asking you a question, and you're asking me a question.
Yeah, 'cause
I'm asking you, what are the
because
things
we
he
collaborated
suffered?
on- We're not going nowhere. We're collaborating on this verse. What does it mean?
Yeah, you haven't given me the answer. What does it mean by obedience? By obedience, he learned obedience through the things he suffered.
Up to verse 6 is very clear.
But you want to
But you
stop.
isolated, you ignored the 2 bit that's there.
I,
Just in the days of flesh. 1 second.
I answered it.
What have you answered?
I told you what it means to be. I told you what it means that God heard him. He asked to be saved, and God heard him.
In a vacuum. What was said before forgot to earth? There was a specific. You see, you outlined it. You didn't outline this. There was a.
We read the passage.
Whoa, I can't speak to brethren. There's a specific request made for a specific matter. Don't just ignore like that didn't happen. It even mentioned what was the matter was to save from death. In the days of his flesh, that mean to be saved from death, a fleshy man die in the mean of flesh death.
No.
Or tell me,
No.
in other words, tell me
No.
how the fleshy man died.
It says this. It says this.
Tell me how a fleshy
No.
just died.
It says this. It says this. It says.
The Bible talks about 2 ways of death. Let's give it 2 ways of death that we describe from the Bible and you learn in Bible class.
Oh my goodness. You're not listening, brother.
You never listen because I don't know.
I've been listening to you.
Don't let me finish because you cold feet. I don't know why you cold feet. Listen to me. The Bible, we're learning from Sunday school from when I was a Christian. We're learning. Yes. They teach us that they teach us biblically there's 2 forms of death. One is when you cut off from God, you become unrighteous and sin. The church teach me that. Then the other one is the normal death, the physical death when your flesh dies. That's the only 2 deaths they taught me in Christendom. I learned that from them. No, you cannot say one of them, the cut off from God and become sinful is applied to Jesus. Not even normal to believe that. That doesn't apply to Jesus. Every Christian will say, well, you're right.
So
Yeah, because can I?
I thought you finished.
I'm making the point.
but you made a false equivocation. No Christian believes that Jesus.
They don't fish one point. You don't fish one point.
in
You want to
his
go somewhere
etymology.
so I don't reason.
No Christian
You was
believes
the other
God
day, and I
died
don't do this.
etymology.
I thought because I never met you up there the other day, I give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, just let me talk to him because he's thinking we're jumping in. Just let me talk to him real quick.
No. You made a point.
Well, just let me talk to him real quick because we about to close out anyway because he don't.
They taught me 2 death. Either one of them, your fish, the normal one, wherever human being gonna taste, your flesh gonna die. Yes. The other one now is you cut off from God in terms of you become unrighteous and sinful. Like when they say Adam sinned. Yes, so therefore they were cut off from God. That's what they.
Ask him when we said Jesus died.
That's what they taught me in Christianity.
Yeah, I told him that's not what it means. So here, let me say something.
Can you say something after?
We heard you. You've been speaking. You've been speaking for like 2 minutes now.
But I never finished one point because you interrupt very rudely.
You're making a lot of.
No one's interrupting rudely.
Yes, I'm speaking. He distracted himself having another separate conversation. It's a lack of sincerity.
I told him to back out, and so me and you can continue our one-on-one. I literally just told him to do that.
Yeah, but
Because you think we're jumping in on you and we're not.
I'm saying to you, but if I'm making a point, if I'm finished the point, you're gonna interrupt while I'm finishing the point.
Okay. So we'll take about 5.
And you can tell me when I should cut
Okay,
off.
so we'll take what I'm telling you is this. We'll take about 5 more minutes and then I'll leave because you feel like I'm cutting you off and doing all this. That's not what I'm doing. If that's how you feel, I don't want to disrespect you.
I'll let you have a little patience. Let me finish the point.
Okay, so go ahead and finish the point.
I'll give you more than
and it'll just be me and you until the conversation is over. So you won't feel attacked or anything. All right. So let's just finish the conversation.
They teach me 2 understand of them. One is the normal one where your flesh dies. Yes? Jesus was a flesh human being. Well, he's got to face that one. That one has got to be in the equation. But the other one for Jesus, if you ever be a Christian and say that one is in the equation, you can't say just to come and rest and become sinful. Because then would have been shame and you. Even most Masons is Antichrist, believe that Jesus is sinless and pure. That's our position.
That's your position. Are you done?
And every Christian I know have the same position regarding that. Just
are you done? Okay, are you done?
You want to cut me away? I'm still believing you want to cut me out.
I mean, I gotta jump in at some point. I mean, you just concluded on one point, and you want to.
Is that a point I'm making?
Yeah, you did. You concluded and you froze.
I'm gonna show you that the statement of Joel, he said, in the days of his flesh, he's talking about to be saved from a fleshy death.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to prove to you with detail.
You haven't proved it with scripture. You're just saying what you learned.
So I couldn't get to prove it to you with detail.
Okay, prove me with scripture.
But you so called for to cut the receipt that I was presented.
Okay, prove it with scripture now. Because you're telling me what you learned in Christendom, that doesn't matter what you learned in school. You could learn something wrong. You haven't proved it with scripture. You went to a scripture and then you took it out of context, saying that he's.
Because Timothy, he knows very well what I'm saying. He knows what I'm saying. No, but I didn't finish my point. He knows what I'm saying is correct. Didn't you know that in Christianity we say, okay, you know, sin is a cutting off from God, and that's what then entered the world because of sin, Adam's sin. Be a sincere Christian and say that.
Go ahead, just go ahead. No, just finish your point.
You don't
just finish your point because we're going off somewhere.
No, he wants to interpret when I don't give. No, when they introduce him, no, because he don't want to come and end up and say yes. We agree on that point.
No. Because what you want to do is you want to drive home your false point that is not inconclusive.
If my point is false,
and there you go, you cutting me off.
If my point is false, I'm saying
you just complaining about cutting somebody off. You cut me off every time I speak.
If the point is false, in the two things I said so far, which one of them is false? That's not Christian doctrine.
Yes, okay.
Which one of them is false?
I've been trying to tell you.
Which one of the two things
Hebrews 5.
Listen, brother.
I'm trying to answer.
Regarding death in general, I'm commenting on death. Forget about Jesus. Death in general. This is Christian teaching.
Okay, death is what? What is death?
I'm saying to you, the Christian teaching, you said this is false, what I'm saying here. In Christian teaching, teach that death, one aspect of death is when you're a person unrighteously cut off from God. Like when Adam sinned and he cut off from God. He said that's one aspect of death. Another aspect is also the normal death where your flesh die, where everyone going to face that normal death. What is false about that statement?
Oh my goodness.
I'm asking what is false about those statements?
Nothing.
So why you say it's false and when nothing is false?
Because you're not listening about what what you're not listening to is what I told you what you were false about.
You just said it's false.
You don't even know what I told you was false.
What is false? What is false?
Your interpretation of the connection to those two understandings of death to Hebrews 5, 6 through 8.
It cannot be false because what? There's a linking word. And that mentioned there, so it's imperative to know what that means in Christian biblical.
Okay.
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Every time, bro.
Brother, are you scared that I'm speaking? Are you scared?
Every time. You've been talking the whole time.
Bro, it cannot be false connection when it's the same word, death, utter.
Okay, there we go. Is that now? Can I jump in? Okay, thank you. Now, okay, thank you. Now, okay, thank you. Now, because you're saying you haven't let me finish. As soon as you finish, you say
again.
Dude. As soon as you finish, you say I didn't let you finish.
I'm saying to you, I'm giving the receipt. I'm giving the receipt. To show you how the scriptures start right there in Hebrews 5 a physical death. I haven't finished concluding giving the receipt yet. Yeah. Yes, what you should have done is you can disagree when I finish it. Then you tell me why you disagree.
You keep complaining about how you haven't finished when I'm the one who's being cut off.
When you shouldn't be speaking and you're speaking.
I am the one who keeps being cut off.
Oh, you cut off when I'm the one who
How long do you want?
Okay. No. It's not. No. We're not doing. No. We're not doing timing because he keeps.
Can you tell us what we
So he doesn't want the answer. So he doesn't want the answer. So he doesn't want the answer. So let me say this. So let me say this. So he doesn't want the answer, right? So what he's doing is right. So what he's doing is right. He took the two. He took the two. No, I'm answering to the camera. So look, he took the two. He took. You've been talking to the camera the whole time. So he took the two. He took the two understandings of death. And what he did was he said, well, there's one understanding which is this way, and then there's another understanding which is this way. And then what he did was he turned around. Then what he did, he turned around and he made that in a connection with Hebrews 5, 6 through 8, and said, see, Jesus was saved from a fleshly death, which is absolutely not true because the biblical narrative, it says in the days of his
flesh. What does it mean? Why are you telling me?
It says that means that in the days of his flesh, that means that in the days of his flesh, he asked to be saved, not from a fleshly death. He asked to be saved. Bro, he asked to be saved.
From the scripture, tell you what he asked to be saved from. From what?
Okay, read it. Because I told you. What are you talking about? I told you. I just read it to you.
That is mentioned in the verse.
Who in the days? Yeah. Who in the?
You don't know that is death is
saved from death.
Saved from death. A fleshy man praying, a fleshy life. I'm a live man praying.
Oh my gosh.
What kind of is he praying to be
saved? Oh my gosh. Look.
I'm saying, which one you want to take? Which one do you want to take? To be saved, not to be unrighteous.
Where does it say that at?
Yeah, I know where does it say? I'm saying to you, it's beyond his pay grade.
What does it say that at?
It's beyond his pay grade. It's over his head.
No. It's not over my head. What's over your head is verse 8. What's over your head is what's over.
I'm asking you.
I said from death. I answered you from death.
Listen for a second. Listen 1 second.
You're not listening. I said.
Because coward I expose him, no, that's why he keep talking.
No, you're the only one talking.
Can you stop for a second? Can you stop for a second?
I said from.
Can you stop for a second? Can you stop for a second?
I said from death.
Stop for a second. He can't stop speaking. Because he's coward.
You can't stop speaking. You're the only one
I give you
speaking.
the ultimatum.
You've been speaking for 20 minutes.
No, you don't take 20
Literally 20
Oh my
minutes.
God.
That's
So
how
I
weak
can
they
be
are.
loud.
That's how
How
weak
weak?
take 20.
All right, man, we're done. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done.
Nobody got
No, brother, Abdul, we're done. Abdul, we're done. We're done. Abdullah, we're done, man. We're done. And there we go. I don't have no respect. I don't have no respect. I don't have no respect.